HTLA Radio 1 proudly presents StarStruck with Kate Taylor.
Wow, that is so cool. I just love that pretty twinkly. Well, okay, all you Astro meeps out there are in for a treat tonight. You're listening to the premiere episode of my new show, StarStruck, only on HTLA Radio 1 New York. We all need a bit of guidance from time to time, and as I'm fond of saying, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. But you're not going to find any airy-fairy, new-agey nonsense here. Oh, no. What most people don't know is that just like astronomy, astrology is a science. Does the moon control the tides? This is what I always say. Yes, of course they do. And just like that planetary entity exhibits a physical force upon objects made of the same stuff, so too do all the planets in our solar system upon us, because we're made of the same stuff. Anyway, this is the reason why for centuries those in power to the peasantry have sought the direction of those of us that understand the mathematical calculations that horoscopes are based upon, and what that can mean for you, the individual, not just the politicians and decision makers out there. We make decisions every day in our own lives, right? We're the CEO of our own lives. So we need to have all the facts to make good decisions also. So with that in mind, keep in mind, please, that the stars and therefore my horoscopes guide, they never decide. And while I'm not enough of a scaredy cat to wimp out and say that this show is for entertainment purposes only, well, even though it is entertainment, you can still believe, though, that if I say a certain day has got some crappy aspects and it might not be the day to try skydiving for the first time, that you should probably schedule a nap instead. Okay, yes, definitely. Now, before I get into the weekly overview, I've got to take care of some station business, like, saying that we are sponsored by Nutrisystem this evening. And so it's always a good idea. That's always something good you can do for yourself. Take positive steps. Every month we have a new moon. It's like tonight. We'll talk about that a little later. But it's a good chance to, new beginnings and get things started for the better and take action on things. And we can all do with a little fitness in our lives and healthy eating, So I love to eat, but we have to eat healthy too, most of the time. Then we can cheat a little on the weekends. And also, if you want to get in on the action in the last segment of our show, then call into the station at 914-873-1NYC or 914-873-1692. Yes, because at the end of the show, starting next week, we will have a reader question. I'll answer one of our listeners' questions on the air live. So, yeah, that'll be fun. You just include your birth date in your question, and I will answer it in the last segment. So you can either call it in and leave a message at our station's voicemail, or you can tweet me at StarStruckTM, or you can email it to producer@newyorksbesttalk.com. There you go. Wow. This is actually the first time I've been on the air for a while. I've been on hiatus with other projects and things, and we're going to be getting Straight Talk rolling and having some more good shows coming up for you, coming towards the fall season. Home Talk is still slated to launch soon. We're really excited about that. That's my design and life and style show defined, and that's going to have a blog with it, and it's going to be it's a big undertaking, which is why it hasn't really launched yet, but it's going to be really a great show. We're going to have celebrity chefs, designers, all kinds of great stuff on there. And obviously Straight Talk is always going to be here, and we'll be premiering more films and promoting more films and entertainment projects like that soon too. Now, if you don't listen during the day, you should, because my ever-talented husband, Christopher Crash Jesus Taylor, does his coffee and cigarettes every day. Starting next week, it is going to be at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Normally, it's on at 3, but it's going to be on at 5 starting next week because we have a lot of other things going on. So we got to push it back a little and try and fit all these great projects in during the day. And we're also developing a rant show for moi. Yes, because as everyone knows, Fierce Kitty Kate has many, many, many opinions. And, there's just some things about this world that, it's hard for me to stomach. And anybody who's listened to Straight Talk when we've had no guests on and it's been kind of our issue shows only, we definitely like to talk about what we feel, is at issue with the world and things like that. So we're actually in development of a show that's kind of like that. That's going to be my take, though, on the issues. And no holds barred, kind of unvarnished, Fierce Kitty Kate all the way. So that's coming soon. And I'm really excited about that because unlike Christopher Crash Jesus Taylor, I probably won't use any swear words, but it'll be just as harsh. But definitely. So there you go. Okay. So let's get into this week's overview because right now we're going to shoot for an hour show. Whether it's going to be a little short or a little longer, I don't know. The premiere, you never know. Who knows? But I will definitely make sure to get all your info in, though. And I couldn't have picked a better and a worse week to premiere this show because it continues to be like a really sensitive time for everybody on the planet right now. Coincidentally, tonight at 10 o'clock on the Discovery Channel, everybody's going to get the first flyby look at Pluto up and close. And I can't wait, actually. So I'm really excited about that. Not a dwarf planet. Pluto, for those of you who don't know, actually rules death and transformation. So it's actually one of the more powerful kind of planets to have in any aspects, or any transit that's going on. Because when Pluto's around, you can always expect something to end and something to begin, or something to rise from some sort of ashes or something. And usually, if you don't keep a philosophical kind of mindset about life, which is nothing lasts forever, good or bad, and we have to be prepared for that, kind of going with the flow kind of thing, then Pluto almost always will cause upsetting transformation. It doesn't have to mean a literal death. It's most likely a death of a situation, but it can mean a literal death too. So you always got to be careful, especially when we have aspects with it like we do the last 2 days, yesterday and today. Now, like I said, we've got a rocky and rugged start to our week today for sure. Aside from the incredible coincidence that we've got a new moon tonight. And if you don't know, new moons, like I said, mean new beginnings. We get one every month, just like we get full moons every month. Sometimes in a long month, we get more than one. So we get to see, like I said, the New Horizon flyby for Pluto for the first time ever. And it just so happens, though, that Pluto's making two not so nice aspects to both Mars, which rules aggression and arguments and action, and Mercury, which is communications, technology, understanding. And these were all in play today, all day, and yesterday as well. So I have to ask, who did you have an aggressive misunderstanding or miscommunication with? Because that seemed to have been the theme for everyone. This is the general kind of forecast for everybody. Here at House Taylor, we know when to stay in our respective corners and not bring up sensitive subjects. And today was definitely one of those days. Everybody just kind of hung out and even since, the little one obviously isn't cognizant, but ever since our daughter became a little more, grown up and she's a teenager now and that sort of thing, even she knows I'll say, bad aspects, don't even argue, just don't even, and she'll just go in her room now and just not, pursue whatever it was she was going to pursue, and it's definitely, again, to be forewarned is to be forearmed because, there's been times where, all of a sudden we'll just get grumpy with each other or cranky with each other. And I'll say, we just had this aspect or that aspect. And they're like, oh, okay, now I get it. Or we know an aspect's coming up. So if we feel ourselves getting cranky or a little unreasonable or whatever it is, we tend to, avoid arguing, or we understand that that's the thing that's causing it. So we're not going to, bite into that kind of aspect. And it's almost a well, that's not going to rule me kind of thing, and we just don't do it. We'll do the opposite instead, and we'll just try to be more understanding and more compassionate to the other person. So, and like I said, the main influence that we're going to find all week is the new moon in Cancer, which goes exact this evening around 10:30 p.m. Central. So that would be 11:30 Eastern. Yeah, I had big trouble tonight with that, if you didn't know. So this gives us all a fresh start in emotional matters, especially relating to what Cancer rules, which is home and family, security, our emotions. Cancer is a water sign. It's all about the emotions, so, and sensitive Cancer, and home and family, and that's just the way they are. Now, don't forget, whatever your sun sign might be, you have other planets and aspects in your charts that determine why you're different from one Cancer than another Cancer. So, and I tend to find that, as children and teenagers and young adults, we don't really kind of come into our own sun sign until we get to be past 30. I'll do a special show about Saturn returns, but every 27 years you have your Saturn return. And, just like they say, every 7 years your cells all change and you're in a different thing. Well, every 27 years you're kind of a whole entire different astrological person too. So, you don't really come into your own in your chart way until after you grow up and you mature some. So, but Cancers generally are sensitive. They're home-oriented. They're family-oriented. And because it's a water sign, and the moon is about your emotions and things like that, it rules your emotions. The new moon in Cancer, we can expect this next week to focus on issues that have to do with home and family, the things that we value, the things that make us feel secure and not vulnerable, anything that makes us feel at home. It doesn't have to be a particular place or a person, but anything that kind of makes us feel at home is going to be the influence this coming week. Okay? And anything that surrounds these issues as well. Right? So stuff happens to us all in life. And as I'm also fond of saying, and this is from my psychology background and not my psychobabble one, the way you feel is never wrong, but the reasons you feel that way might be. And with the aspects that we've got going on, today and yesterday especially, but a little bit throughout the week as well, with the squares and the oppositions, there's going to be some maybe misunderstandings of things. So try not to do what I always yell at everybody in my house for. Don't be knee-jerky and react to stuff. Take a minute to think if, I'm reacting this way because it's really an issue that's important to me, or am I reacting to another issue that just made me feel the way that issue did? Things like that. So again, having this information just makes you feel, a little bit more informed. You might not be so knee-jerky. It's new moons like this that can help us to delve into those reasons and find a fresh and cooperative way to deal with them. So this is where we should focus our energies over the next 7 days. Finding those people and circumstances that prevent us from feeling whole, secure, and able to address, the issues in that way, in a constructive way, rather than a knee-jerky kind of way. Because there's always something that makes us feel a little vulnerable. And if we work with the energies of this week, we'll work with pinpointing what those things are and finding constructive ways to work with it. Okay, remember the basis is all about how we feel, ways to improve those feelings around the issues that matter to us and our sense of being peaceful and, like I said earlier, at home in whatever the situation is. All right, we're going to take our first commercial break, and in a few minutes I will be back and I'll get into our individual signs for this week, so stay tuned.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
I did try to lose weight on my own. I couldn't do it by myself. I needed help. I'm Amy, and I lost 28 pounds on Nutrisystem. Now I'm healthy, and I'm in the best shape I have been in my entire life.
Now you can eat the foods you love and still lose weight with Nutrisystem and save up to 50%.
I knew Nutrisystem was working the very first week when I stepped on that scale and I saw results.
Nutrisystem is based on the proven science of the glycemic index, which helps you feel fuller longer.
It's easy, it's convenient, it comes to your door, it's that simple.
Choose 4 fantastic meals a day for less than $11.
This year was the first summer I went to the pool with my kids and I was able to not be self-conscious.
Millions have lost weight on Nutrisystem. You can too, and save up to 50%.
It worked. Nutrisystem works.
Call 888-371-SIZE and save up to 50%.
What are we going to do today?
Stay strong. Take on the heat. Bounce back.
Get healthy-looking hair that stands up to styling. Discover Platinum Strength, new from Tresemme. It repairs up to 2 years of damage by reinforcing hair's natural protective barrier. for resilient hair with all its beautiful strength. What will you do with your salon-strong, chair-worthy hair? Tresemme. Professional. Affordable.
It's a stick revolution. Now skin goes shine-free and naturally matte in just one step. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline, New York. The first of its kind. Fresh gel foundation with an anti-shine powder core inside. Dissolves oil while it blends to a natural matte finish. For coverage that's fresh, flawless, one step perfect. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline.
Stick with us.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
Okay, well, we are back, and we're getting ready to get into our individual star signs. And, it's so hard to go from that pumping music to, okay, we're back. It's like I want to have that pumping music, that soundtrack. Little aside here, growing up, I always had a soundtrack to my life. It was just, I've always been musical. I've been a professional musician my whole entire life. So to not have like a musical soundtrack now at this stage of my life, it's kind of awkward. And I find, though, that I'm so eclectic in my musical choices, having lived 4 decades of, I didn't just say that, having lived many decades of many different styles, it's kind of hard to pinpoint just one, that best describes me now. It's like a mishmash of, I'm in my, it's not a potpourri, but what is it when you have a whole bunch of things, like a cacophony of musical tastes and things now that just describes me. Well, it kind of describes this week, too, because like I said, unfortunately, we have a new moon tonight. Well, fortunately, new moons are always good. They're new beginnings. But whatever the aspects are for today is going to influence us for the next 2 weeks, especially at least the first week, and then the second will be building towards the full moon. Full moons culminate. They end situations. So every month you have 2 weeks in which to begin and 2 to wrap stuff up. And that's the way it goes. And it seems odd because I find that, personally, for our family, we're very schedule-based and things like that. Well, we have to be with kids and all the other things we do. But we kind of live our life a month at a time. It's kind of an extra take on the check-to-check living kind of thing. We live month to month in our activities and our we evaluate at the end of every month, and the beginning of a new month is always like a big deal. Well, what are we going to go for this month? And, what are our goals for this month and that sort of thing. So it works for us. But, knowing what I know about astrology, that's why 2 weeks of proactive action and then 2 weeks of, sitting back, letting that action kind of take root and things like that. And also wrapping it up and getting ready for the next 2 weeks of new action. So, all right, well, let's talk about action with our first sign of the evening, Aries, which is the planet of action and aggression and all this good stuff, and the sign of action and aggression. It's ruled by Mars, which is also the planet of war and aggression and all that kind of stuff. But you have a very crazy week that you can expect this week. Like I said, the aspects are kicking everybody's butt, but it's not rolling out the red carpet for anybody, especially you guys. I could definitely see Aries burning some bridges this week because, that's one of the more knee-jerky signs unless you have other aspects that help to make you cool and, controlled. But so you're just going to have to know, though, that you do have the aspects behind you this week. If you are burning a bridge or putting a situation behind you to start anew, then you're actually going to be working with the energies for a change and not, part of your knee-jerky kind of thing. You have to be careful of squabbles within the family because don't forget, this week is all about anything related to home and family and personal feeling at home matters. So that's where you'll have to watch the squabbles being and the flare-ups and things like that. If you're ending a situation in, the home arena, let's just hope it's for a new beginning. And unfortunately, there's going to be a cross-section, though, that it's always going to be separations and things like that. And we have that Pluto aspect that, again, is endings and transformations. But everything always leads to a new beginning, right? So, don't forget, again, it's all about home, family, and property matters even. So if you're moving or buying a house or whatever, these are all that the aspects are talking about. If a plan falls through or, situations occur that force you in a direction you don't want to go or that you don't think is the right direction for you, just, put on a happy face and relax because we always have 2 weeks of, forward motion and then 2 weeks of hanging out, evaluation, and wrapping things up before we can always start again. So, we don't always see situations at the moment, but they are sometimes the things that have to happen to get us to where we need to go. And even though it doesn't look like the package we want it to come in, it could, Now, tomorrow's the 16th. With friends, zip your lip. If anybody starts arguing, don't get in the middle of it. Don't, play monkey in the middle, because it's not going to end well for you whatsoever. If you're single, 17th and the 18th look like the best time for Aries to find, love, or at least somebody fun to hang out with, and there is actually a small cross section of you that career-wise could get a really great power break, especially if you're in, a business where you work for yourself, or you're in sales and you work for commissions, or it's a family-run business, that sort of thing. Don't forget home family, right? So these are all areas where you might find a great and unique kind of powerful break to kind of get a leg up in position, or, especially if it's something you've been working towards, the aspects will kind of help you in that regard. So, but just remember, overall, the theme is stuff happens, and whatever does, just stay cool. And yes, and it'll be good. Yes, right. Okay, yeah. No, my producer's waving at me from the window telling me something I can't understand. Numbers. Oh, yes, those. Yeah, no. Well, he's like, dude, give me the lucky numbers. I want to win the lottery. No. Well, I guess if many people requested it, I would have to kind of do that. Okay. But we haven't done that. All right, well, let's move on to Taurus, because we have 12 signs to get through in an hour. That's pretty tough. Okay. All right. Taurus, it's all about diplomacy for you guys this week. This month. What is it with me in the month? See? Yeah. This week, it's all about diplomacy. The astroscape affects everybody, every single sign. Right? It faces a tough week. That doesn't mean that everything's going to go wrong. It just means that it's going to take a little more effort to achieve your ends, right? So as long as you have safety nets in place and you've considered alternative arrangements should things start to go wonky for you, then you should be okay, right? But something or somebody could just come along and make your day. But if it doesn't happen, just, do the things you're supposed to be doing and stay diplomatic. Watch your mouth, watch your knee-jerky reactions, because Aries isn't the only one that does that, right? And be careful if you're traveling, because even though there is no retrograde at the moment, things could get complicated, and meetings and discussions could cause people to take sides and not want to compromise, which could lead to some permanent rifts in career and things like that. So, it's just a little bit of a week for you to just pretty much hang out in the background and observe, as we always tell our kids, mouth shut, ears open kind of week for you, more than anything else. Again, we have to focus on the home and family aspect, though, more than career. So, like I said, you're more likely to be traveling than any other sign this week as a family, probably a family vacation, something like that. If you do, then just, be careful, more than anything, make sure you've got your plans all in order and things like that. You have to be careful because you can have parental arguments between the 16th and the 17th. You might have some issues finding that in some way you feel you failed as a parent, especially late on the evening of the 17th. But it's just sit back, it could raise, you might ask yourself whether you made the right decision, discipline-wise or something like that. And it leads to a little bit of self-discovery for you, that thing. And on the 19th, even as late as the 19th, it could cause you to not want to be decisive because you want to not make that same kind of mistake again. But, you have to trust yourself. And as long as you consider all these kind of things, if you always act from a true perspective, you can't ever go wrong. And that's my opinion. As long as things are done with the best of intentions from a position of love and not fear, you'll always be okay. Now, here's something great for Taurus, though, because romantic love does really, really well for you this week. But you have to keep the other person's point of view and feelings into consideration before you do or say anything. Again, it's that diplomatic thing. Wear your diplomatic hat all week long. And singles, later on the 18th, that's probably your best time for going out and finding someone to love. And if you should happen to meet somebody as a Taurus between the 16th and the 21st of this week, then it actually does show very promising and bright futures. Just take your time. Take your time and make sure you know yourself as well as getting to know the other person too, because that's more important, I think, to know yourself than worry about the other person and whether they're right for you. You have to be right for you first, and then the other person will be right for you, because you'll always make the right choices then, right? Now, as far as friends go, you might have some friends that have called on you this week already between the 13th and the 15th to bail them out. You know, it might cost you a lot. You might be, finding you're spending rent money on bailing a friend out, rather, and that might not be good. Unfortunately, if it involves more of a Capricorn, a Scorpio, a Libra, or another Taurus, you'll be more apt to find that this is the case. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you not to bail your friend out, but just be aware that it might cause you to learn a lesson, that you didn't really want to or have to. But if that's the situation and you hear me, you'll just really have to think, if you can afford to lose the money, then do it. Don't do it and expect to get the money back, because you won't. And that's just the way it is. So, career, you're going to struggle with really small stuff, little details, wrong tickets, traffic lights. You're in a hurry and you get behind somebody at the store who's got 80 million things and you're stuck and you have to wait. And, don't freak out. Don't blow a gasket. You can't throw money at it to fix it. Just take a deep breath and relax. And again, this is one of the situations where if you enter a situation like this now and you're listening to this show, you remember I said it, it'll actually make you say, oh God, she said this was going to happen. I'm just going to relax and take a deep breath. It'll get done faster. It'll just go away much faster than if you stress, and you won't carry that past that situation into the other parts of your day, So, let's see. We have a big, maybe half or a little more than half of Tauruses between the 16th and the 17th is going to find a new person coming into their work sphere, a new boss, maybe a new partner. Somebody of a power nature is going to enter your work sphere, and this is for a nice section of Tauruses. Not all, of course. I mean, obviously, if you work from home, it's not going to apply to you. But, for those in the corporate sector, don't be surprised if there's somebody new that gets introduced the 16th or the 17th that's in a position above you, and you'll have to deal with this person now, right? Careful again, with spending, unless you're on vacation, don't spend frivolously, especially the 17th to 19th. That's pretty much all I can tell you. Just stay diplomatic and try and get through this week. There's definitely possibility for some fun times, but it's a week for Taurus to lay low. Okay. Yes, it is. On to Gemini. Now, I have Gemini moon, so this applies to me in the emotional spheres too. But, here's a fun Taylor fact for my listeners. My husband, my daughter, myself, we're all Libras. And my son should have been a Libra too, but he was born 3 weeks early and he was a Virgo. So that's pretty fun. We get to, all the horoscopes are the same in our house, except for Tristan. He had to go be the oddball, right? Come 3 weeks early. Okay, Gemini. Now, just like for everybody, all of these scopes are going to start with the same thing. Be careful, watch your step, put your diplomacy hat on, keep your mouth shut, all that kind of thing, So for Gemini this week, you got to watch your step. It's not going to be a dull week for Geminis or anyone with Gemini rising or anything like that. There's a lot of, angles between the planets. We've had 4 squares, 2 oppositions in the last 2 days alone. And for those of you that aren't familiar with astrology, oppositions and squares tend to be challenging aspects, and trines and sextiles tend to be more cooperative aspects. So, okay. Let's see. Gemini. Yeah, just, if you get through each day this next 7 days and you haven't hit a major roadblock, then thumbs up, you're doing great. Just keep your eyes open for any potential ones, and you can potentially avoid them, right? You have an atmosphere around you that's completely confrontational, but it can be beneficial, because if you don't allow it to cause you to lose a sleepless night, if you know that these aspects are going to end, and this is another great thing that I love about astrology, because if you have a bad couple days, you can know that it's going to change. The aspects are going to change, and things are going to get more conducive and more in your favor, and things will get a little lighter than they've been. Things will change, and nothing lasts forever, good or bad, and So, don't allow any kind of minor issues to turn into full-scale permanent hostilities or rifts or fights, whether it's at home or work. But don't forget, mostly all the things that I'm talking about for everyone this week are home and family related, right? You can have a significant week with either, major gains or major losses, depending on how you've been living and how you've been, planning and things like that. So, only you know where you stand in that regard. And, if you've been on the right path and working towards fiscal security, you very well could see some gains this week, but if you've been playing it fast and loose and not doing the things you're supposed to, robbing Peter to pay Paul, well, I won't pay the electric bill this week because I'm going to, do this. I'll find the money somewhere. That's not going to end well for you. This is the week where things are more likely to bite you in the ass, so to speak, if you haven't been doing those kind of things that you should. Okay. Now, again, home and family, you got a lot of sibling issues going on for you, Gemini. There's a lot. It's all petty, too. And you have to, if you've encountered any of this already, know that it's going to get less and less as each day of this week goes on. But, today is the big day. The 15th was the day it was going to kind of culminate. But it'll start getting easier now as each day of the rest of this week goes on. But it's definitely all about sibling relationships this week for Gemini. So if you have any issues in that regard, know you're not alone, and it will start to lessen as the rest of the week goes on. The worst thing you can do this week, if you do have sibling or family issues, don't make any one member feel like they're not as important as the rest, because that is actually going to lead to a lot of trouble in the family down the road. Sometimes things occur in life and we don't realize how significant those things are until much later. But I'm telling you right now that that's something that will be significant if you allow that to happen as a Gemini, and you make someone in your family feel like they're not as important as anybody in the rest of the family. That's going to come back later on. So, avoid that as much as possible if you find yourself in a situation like that. Remember what I said and just don't do it. Everybody needs to feel that they have, equal standing in home. Home is where we launch for everything we do. If we can't feel safe and loved and accepted and, supported in our own homes and with our own families, that's usually where a lot of people get in trouble, and they have a hard time, functioning in life. It all really starts there. And it doesn't matter. Family's family, so I always say, whether they're right or wrong, you always support them in public. You can kick their butts in private, but you always have to support them and be there for them. And that's really important. And if you can do that for, a loved one, hope they'll do it for you back. But, do the right thing and do it for a loved one, because that's the kind of stuff that's needed, And speaking of love for Geminis, we always have a hard time, Geminis, as lovers and romantic, because we have two sides. We're the twins, so we're serious and we're frivolous, and, we're in love and we're flirty. So it's difficult for us. And it takes sometimes until we're mature to be able to really settle down and, stay kind of loyal. But I think that you're going to find some satisfying exchanges this week. The whole week is good for singles looking for love. If you're in a marriage or a relationship, only the days from tomorrow through Saturday are good. You might bicker over really stupid stuff for the rest of the week, like the soap. Who left the soap on the bathroom floor, or the bathtub floor instead of putting it on the thing. Stupid stuff like that can really, start a war, especially if you're in a long relationship. And a week like this brings a lot of simmering issues to a head. Again, Pluto, the planet of transformation. Things can't transform until they've been, destroyed and rebuilt. And usually it's the littlest, stupidest thing that starts the war that demolishes everything that things can then be rebuilt from. So if you're any sign and you find yourself in a situation like that, also know that this is part and parcel of what, the aspects are going for, overall. So that's Pluto working. Pluto is destruction and transformation. So just like the phoenix, everything will rise from the ashes, though. So don't give up. When everything is wrecked, the only place you can go is up and rebuilding. So nothing stays the same forever, right? You might be able to talk a friend out of trouble somehow this week if you're a Gemini. Geminis are great talkers. We can certainly talk, our way out of a paper bag, that sort of thing. Don't Don't look for any rewards for doing it, though, because Geminis are notorious for giving. And, we don't really expect anything. We're kind of the fairies, the fly around, do good deeds kind of, just because we like goodwill and we like frivolity and we don't like to see anybody sad or depressed, that kind of thing. But you won't get any. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody that you helped get out of trouble actually did something in return for that. So don't. Your finances this week, up and down, and then up mostly towards the end of the week. So that's something good. Again, just be careful. Watch your step. Avoid confrontations. Avoid hurting feelings in family. And you should get through the week just fine. Okay, let's see. Oh, my gosh, I have to hurry because I'm so behind. See, I can just go and talk. All right, we got Cancer next, and obviously we have a new moon in Cancer, so Cancer's horoscope is going to be significant. No pain, no gain is the motto for Cancer this week, definitely. You have things that are going on. Anything that you try to schedule or encounter is going to be challenging for you this week. But if you feel that life's in good shape, if you're not somebody that has a bunch of meetings or a bunch of travel or lives that kind of rat race stressful life, then you have to actually be on the alert for more things to trip you up anyway. Because if you're somebody that is constantly on the go, you're always encountering things. So you're able to handle them better. You're able to juggle them better because you're always dealing with stuff like that. It's kind of the homebodies and the Cancers that are, just not so busy or not involved in the rat race, that when stuff comes up, they tend to have less of an idea how to handle that sort of thing. So you have to be careful if you're not one of those rat race kind of people, because something can come up that, you're really going to have a hard time getting over. You can find that these kind of hitches and glitches come in the form of people that are going to disagree with you. They're going to, you go to somebody for advice and their answer is to throw the baby out with the bathwater and just get rid of everything. Pluto again, right? They just want you to wreck everything and get rid of everything. But, you don't want to do that because Cancers are cautious. They're sensitive. They want to make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. They don't like any kind of discord for too long. They like everything to be just so, the stability in the home and all that kind of stuff. So, it's going to be the no pain, no gain struggle is going to be between, you need this person's advice. You have to, you don't feel like you can handle this situation on your own yet. You're not really comfortable with the advice you're getting either. So it's kind of going to be a struggle between, well, should I trust my instincts and be wrong, or should I listen to this person and be wrong? And, it's just going to be a tough kind of thing. But, overall, you actually have the best chance to have a really good week. So there's going to be, I'm not saying that these things are absolutely going to happen. You're not, you might get through this whole week and not have one bad thing happen. Everything might be awesome. Don't forget, these are just used to guide you. So things to watch out for, when I say iffy things like that, just keep an eye out for them coming, because you can always sidestep them. If you know they're coming, you don't have to walk right in the middle of them, right? Cancers are going to be the ones that spend the most money this week. They're so much so that we're talking like buying a new house, spending money this week, because it's all about home and family and all about investing in the security of that. Okay. You might buy an entire new living room suite, or, re-outfit the playroom for your kids, or, stuff like that. If you have to spend a lot of money, try and lean towards the necessities rather than the frivolous. But again, for you this week also, the worst is probably over, and starting tomorrow until the 21st, things should start to get easier and easier every day, as will for all of us, because now the bad aspects are kind of over as of tonight. But, as far as romance goes for Cancer this week, as long as you feel comfortable in the emotional, state of yourself and your partner, you're going to have a good week. If you feel like somebody is being, more emotional than you, or if there's one partner that's emotionally wound up more so than the other, then we're going to have some, issues. And that's when the crabby side of Cancer can come out, right? If you feel like you're being slighted or ignored or anything like that, especially when it comes to in a romantic relationship with your partner or spouse, well, then things could get, really bad, and you're going to really see that no pain, no gain kind of thing happen, because sometimes the only way we can really get to the heart of issues is by having a big blow up, and, people get upset and they say things that they don't normally say. And then you're like, oh, is that how you really feel? And blah, blah, blah. And then that's when things can get resolved. So even if something like that does occur, don't look at it as a bad thing, because, you can actually get some resolution from that then, once all that stuff is over with. Don't take on friends' problems this week at all. In any way, because it'll be the biggest mistake a Cancer can do. This is not the week for you to take on anybody else's emotional baggage, emotional issues. You have enough of your own. Don't do it. Okay. The week's definitely cut in half for you. The first half, not so much. That's where all the stress, right? And then the second half, nice and easy. Money's going to be a worry until tomorrow, and then it'll stop being so much. So it'll start to get easier after tomorrow. So, as far as Cancer goes, it is your new moon. Make the most of it. You have things that you want to get going. You want habits you want changed. You want to do anything in any way better for your home, family, sense of security, all that kind of stuff. This is the week to make a plan and get it going and do it, right? All right, let's move on to Leo the Lion. Yes, okay. Oh, Leo. Well, stormy weather, just like everybody else has, right? You're no different. Nobody's exempt this week whatsoever. It is a little bit one of the more exciting weeks of the year for you, though. You're probably going to feel like you were put through the ringer at the end of it, right? Be prepared for the unexpected, last-minute changes, all those things like that. There's nothing you can do, but if you're hearing me right now and you prepare for it, boom. Fortunately, most of the stuff that I talk about that isn't, so good, and that stuff that you have to watch out for actually culminates, like this evening, and things will start to get lighter for everyone starting tomorrow. So, but that doesn't mean that you're out of the woods, because you're not. The whole week is like that for everybody, but it's probably a little less likely than it was the last couple days. That's all. But just still stay aware of it, right? You could have an issue, Leo, this week with somebody. Maybe you're in a relationship and then out of the blue they just say, well, I've been thinking and you're not the right person for me. And you thought everything was fine. And it could be out of the blue. Now, it could be you also that has that change of heart and, is going to completely decide out of the blue and be that shock for somebody else. Again, what? Pluto, complete destruction to transformation, right? So there you go. It is actually, you are supported in this. If this is the thing that you want to do, Leo, you go and do it this week because you got the stars behind you. This is the week. If you want to completely destroy and restructure something, this is the week for you to do it. Okay, so don't feel bad about that. You'll both live, you'll both recover, and you'll move on to bigger and better things. It's rare and difficult for any of us to find that soulmate in life, that one person that, we know we're going to be with for the rest of our life no matter what, And if you don't feel like you're with that person, then you're certainly within your purview to find that person that makes you feel that way. So, don't feel guilty. I always say it's better to be alone than be in a relationship that's not right for you. So, you are supported if this is the way it's going to go, And unfortunately, the aspects are going to push you to that direction if you're not doing the right thing for you anyway. I always like to say the universe to me isn't really a conscious kind of being, but it just always seems that the aspects are in line with whatever it is that's going on. I have all these decades of experience and growing up with my mother, who was an astrologer. And, when I was a kid, you don't want to believe anything your parents say, all that stuff. But, in my late 20s, I had to admit that everything that she would said was, coming to pass, and these things were actually true, and there actually was patterns to all the things that she was saying. So that's why I started researching all this stuff myself, and it has certainly helped in every aspect. I really feel that when you're on the right path, you're supported, and when you're not and stuff happens, you have to understand it's just because you're not on the right path, and it's just the universe's way of getting you back on there. So, it's not the end of the world, whatever it is that happens. It's just time to move on to some other better chapter for you, right? Okay, home and family. Again, this is likely going to be a spousal situation, If there's kids involved, all the more, sad, but, it's still the same situation, right? And I actually have a dear friend who's about to divorce too, so it just seemed like that was the time. We were just talking the other day, and that's the way it's going to go after 12 years of marriage. So it happens, right? Now you have to family situations, if you have kids, you have to maybe be dealing with your child's behavioral situations too. That's something else. You have to learn to have the boundaries between what you teach them and what they need to learn on their own too. That might be something that you're dealing with this week. Obviously, up until tonight, it'll get easier after tonight. But if you face that situation, or if you're going to face it in the next couple of days, understand it. It's not the end of the world. It is what it is, but give it some thought and realize that now's the time to put any, again, positive plans into action to create more security and more of a supportive home kind of environment, right? Same thing can be said about all relationships. Everything I was talking about, the loss, the setbacks, probably up until this evening, but anytime this week. Changes and talks about change until the 18th are very prevalent for Leo. So, take it slow. That's it. Oh, and whereas Leo is opposite of Cancer this week, if you help friends this week, Leo, they're going to come back and they'll help you tenfold. So you can go right ahead and feel free about giving your assistance to friends. Whereas Cancer, I wouldn't advise it. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just take it easy. And whatever happens, know it's meant to happen. Think. I always advise, do not ever be knee-jerky. Think. If you find yourself in a situation like I described, well, at least you'll know how to deal with it and why it's happening. So, all right, now, before our commercial break, one more we're going to do Virgo quickly, and that's our little son. That's our sunshine boy, Tristan Christopher, but he's only 3, so he really doesn't have to worry too much. Although, when there's aspects and he gets cranky and he'll get up in the middle of the night and all these things, we know when it's going to happen. It's pretty, it's the aspects. That's why you didn't sleep all night, that kind of thing. Virgo actually has a pretty good week as far as overall. We're all going to have our issues this week. But Virgos actually has more of a pleasant, more deep and meaningful kind of situation because Venus enters Virgo over the weekend. So that's going to soften everything and make all of these home and family aspects a lot more easy to deal with and have positive kind of ramifications and more of a positive push than a negative Pluto destructive push. Venus will make things much easier and softer, right? So over the weekend, make the most of your time with the people you love or like to love, right? And don't be surprised if you're single and you're out there, there seems to be attractive people everywhere because, Venus and Virgo can make everything more appealing, okay? Yeah, so it seems like you have a nice, fateful week ahead of you. If there's a fateful development that occurs for you this week, Virgo, just know it has its seeds in the distant past. If you sat down and actually tried to think where that had come from, it would be so far back you might not even remember. I do have one cautionary thing for Virgo. If that fateful development happens to be giving someone an ultimatum or, pushing someone to make a decision, don't do it unless you're absolutely sure because you're not going to be able to rewind that tape and go back and fix it. Because if you do give someone an ultimatum and push, you better be sure that you don't care if they walk away because they will and you won't get them back. So just be sure of that. Try and stay more positive. Try and do things like I always say, out of love instead of fear. Do things for the good and the beneficial and the growth. There's far too much, should I say, retardation in the world today. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, Virgos, it's a lot more about love and romance this week than actual family. But Virgos actually will have a week that'll come off more closely without a hitch than for any other sign. You might have a lot more work to do because Virgos are the sign of work. You'll find most of your workaholics are Virgos, actually. But, and don't be surprised if you have any kind of increase in status when it comes to home and family as well. A lot of Virgos will either be getting engaged, getting married, getting pregnant, having babies. It's all about this, new and, progressive push to solidify the home and the security environment, And in this way, for Virgo, it's all positive and it's all good. So congratulations. Even the money is going to be good and stable for you. So, all right. Well, we are going to go for our second and last commercial break. And when we come back, we'll get to the rest of the 6 signs. So stay with us. We'll be back in 2.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
42.
50.
You will lose weight too with Nutrisystem. Get great tasting meals delivered to your door. And now you can save up to 50%.
I love my results.
I'm Erin, and I lost 30 pounds on Nutrisystem. After kids, I never thought I'd be back in a bikini. I'm Cora, and I lost 42 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Nutrisystem is based on the glycemic index, which helps you feel fuller longer.
I got this body eating pizza, pasta, even chocolate.
Choose 4 fantastic meals for less than $11 a day. Millions of people have lost weight on Nutrisystem, and you can too. And now you can save up to 50%.
I feel better in my 40s than I did in my 20s.
I feel sexy.
I am back in a bikini again.
If I did it, you can do it too.
Call 888-651-SIZE now and save up to 50%.
It's a stick revolution. Now skin goes shine free and naturally matte in just one step. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline, New York. The first of its kind. Fresh gel foundation with an anti-shine powder core inside. Dissolves oil while it blends to a natural matte finish. For coverage that's fresh, flawless, one step perfect. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline.
Stick with us.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
What are we going to do today?
Stay strong. Take on the heat. Bounce back.
Get healthy-looking hair that stands up to styling. Discover Platinum Strength, new from Tresemme. It repairs up to 2 years of damage by reinforcing hair's natural protective barrier. For resilient hair with all its beautiful strength. What will you do with your salon-strong, chair-worthy hair? Tresemme. Professional. Affordable.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
Oh, yeah. And we'll get back now because we're going to talk about Libra, which is, as I said earlier, my entire family sign except for the littlest one. And, you know, I can speak from personal experience on this one. You know, courageous Libras will move mountains this week. And God knows we have faced our climb of them this week already. God knows. Okay, don't try to be diplomatic. It's not even going to work. Just, Libras, put your nose to the grindstone and just get stuff done. And like we were just discussing a few minutes ago on the break, you know, if you have a situation that you're kind of banging your head against the wall about, don't even bother giving it more time. It's not going to make things better. It's going to make things worse. You know what you have to do. So just bite the bullet and do it. And that's it. It's as simple as that. You know, and that's what it means by courage. You know, courage isn't, you know, courage is doing things in the presence of fear, not in the absence of it. So you have to do all these things anyway. You know what you have to do, Libra. Just do it. You know, a lot of work, a lot of effort this week for us Libras, you know, but things are going to start getting better as early as even yesterday or today. But as soon as the 16th and the 17th, we're going to definitely start seeing some turnaround in mood and atmosphere, etc. for us Libras. And some of us might have to wait until the 21st or even as far out as September, depending on what your goals are and the kind of things you have in mind. You know, now for Libras, our love life is actually where the really, really, really good news is. You know, we might start the week sitting alone, lonely on our butts, but we're not going to end it that way. We're going to have some very exciting opportunities towards the end of the week with Virgos, Cancers, Capricorns, Aquarius, Aries, and other Libras. Now, this is the really good thing. If you're in a long-term relationship or married as a Libra, and I happen to be married to a Libra too, so it especially applies to us, by the 17th, we very well may have both the money and the solution to our problems. So that would be great, wouldn't it? Because everybody would like the solution and the money to, you know, affect the solution. That would be fantastic, okay? Friend-wise, as far as Libras go, double up with pals, 2 by 2, just like Noah and the Ark. You know, you're going to find a pal to do things with. Whatever you do, though, don't introduce your one group of friends to another group of friends before tomorrow. Because, you know, the aspects just don't bode well for that sort of thing. So don't do it. But after tomorrow, you know, if you want to introduce your work friends to your personal friends, go for it. You'll have a nice, easy time of it, okay? Let's see. Career-wise, you know, it's kind of draining, but it'll start getting less and less as of tomorrow or the 17th. right? And that would also be a really good time if you have to ask the boss for a favor, like an extended leave of absence or something like that. Wait till the 16th and the 17th to put in any kind of request work-wise, and it'll most likely end up in your favor, okay? These are just the general ones for every sign, right? So I'm a Libra with, a Gemini moon and Sagittarius rising. And my husband is a Libra with, oh my gosh, what does he have? Let's see. He's got Leo rising and he's got a Pisces moon. So that completely opposite Pisces and Gemini, pissy Pisces and flirty, fun Gemini. And that's the way it is. So you can always tell, even though overall we have the same kind of good aspects, or, the situations might be running in, we'll look at them from two different perspectives, but in my opinion, that's just another reason that makes us work so well, because we're just two sides of the same coin. So you always have to have that yin and yang balance, and we're totally that. So, but you might know a Libra who's not having as easy a time as you are as a Libra, and you'll say, well, why is that? And that's because, you have other things in your personal chart that, make up the course of your life and things like that. So that's why. But overall, these are the trends that you can count on just as a Libra alone, all those other things aside. Okay. Mostly up and down finances, but like I said, by the end of the week, you can count on having some really good news in that regard. So look forward to that, because I know I am. Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's see. On to Scorpio. Ooh, Scorpio. Sexy Scorpio. Yeah, our daughter has Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio. So we'll get a little into, I might do a segment at some point when we decide to extend the time of the show, because it looks like we're going to have to. The premieres, you never can tell how they're going to run, because, you just can never tell. But I might throw some other aspects in there, like if, you're born with Venus in a certain sign. Venus is the sign of love, the things that you value, the things that affect you emotionally in that way, that kind of thing. It also rules money. So, for example, our daughter has Venus in Scorpio. So, Scorpio, you wound them, they'll never forget, ever, ever, ever. And she's also going to be incredibly shrewd with money, because that's what Scorpios do. So, some of those things. All right, but let's talk about Scorpio as a sun sign. This week, it's not for faint-hearted Scorpios whatsoever. You're going to be ready to rumble. But again, they'll start getting easier after tomorrow. But if you have any kind of major plan or task in front of you, you can count on these aspects this week, though, giving you the energy and focus you need. If you're hoping that somebody's going to do you a favor, though, or that they're going to be lenient in their judgment of you, if they're going to overlook a mistake you made, change a plan that would be more in your favor, forget it. It's not going to happen, Scorp. Sorry. It might later towards the 17th, 18th, but definitely not any time before that. You might have to put off doing things for a little while if you were counting on any of those things occurring to make your path easier, because it's not likely to happen until sometime later on. But here is something that's important. You're most likely going to be embarking on a major new road in your life right now, and you're probably considering leaving someone or some situation behind. There is a chance the week will go by without you encountering or thinking of anything like this, but at some point you're going to realize that this week right now was a really important one in this year for you and your decisions for the future, Scorpio. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Let's see. Again, because we're all dealing with family and home and security issues, right? You actually have the least to worry about family-wise with all of this kind of stuff, except for today. Today was probably a real humdinger for everybody, but especially Scorpios. Today could actually have been that day that you decided or began the thought process of deciding to leave something or someone behind. So it was probably that day. And, accepting things for the way they are and deciding whether to live with them or live without them might have been something that you had to deal with today. Either way, whatever you decide, you'll have to probably think about it and not come to a decision probably closer to the 18th. But you will come to find out that whatever you decide, though, will be the most constructive thing for you. Because, again, this is a really important week for you, whether you know it or not. So, and a lot of these things, if it is a family situation and you're dealing with spousal issues, because family and love and all that kind of stuff is related, you'll find that this could have been started by some petty argument in the 13th and, has been carried over through today, maybe even tomorrow, whatever it is. But these are the things that, got you kicked off and started with all these, issues. It's probably most likely going to be some kind of trust issue that's at the heart of this. Which for a Scorpio, that's probably one of the only issues that will cause them to reconsider anything. Yes. Now, I have Sag rising, so I was always flighty and fun and all these things. But I'm also very sage-wise. Yes, I am. Sages are sage-wise. Not the average week for Sagittarius, but there's not been an average week for anybody. It's the kind of week where you'll wait all day for a bus and then 3 come at once. And you'll think that nothing's been going on, but so much has been going on behind the scenes, and it'll all come on and hit you all at once that it'll just, make your head spin. So that's going to make this not be the smoothest of weeks for you, Sag. But now that you're listening to me and you know this, don't get flustered. You'll know because doesn't mean that, things won't work out to your advantage, especially if you stay on the alert for problems and people who might not react to things as much as you'd hope. There's always a way around an impasse, even if you don't see one right away. So all you need to do is sit back, relax, don't be knee-jerky, act out of love, not fear, and wait for clarity to come. And it will. It always does. Right? Okay. Now, let's see. You've got the same pretty much average week as the rest of us. Family, you might find skyrocketing expenses for home and family, though. One thing after another, too, that you have to watch for. And if this is what's causing the stress issues, because don't forget, it's all about everything happening at once for you, Sagittarius. So, the dryer will break, and then the dishwasher will go, and the toilet will explode, and it could be one thing after another. And then just when you fix all that stuff, the car breaks down. It could be something like that for you if it's a home-related kind of thing. And don't forget, what does Pluto do? It destroys. You can get new ones. There you go. So you're all working with that kind of the same vibe there, Actually, after tonight, you could actually celebrate an overabundance of, family gatherings and events that happen at your home. So if you have any kind of holidays, or maybe you're planning a vacation, a family reunion type of vacation, you're going to be spending a little bit more money on things like that. If that's the case, then you can expect to be draining a little bit more of your bank account if it's something like that. And don't forget, because of the new moon being in Cancer, it's all about home and family and situations like that. So that's likely going to be where the aspects occur for you. You got to watch out in love relationships. Again, it was mostly all week until today. But you might have actually termination vibrations going on for Sag. So, don't be knee-jerky. Act from love, not fear, because this one is, the kind of thing where people fight and they, threaten and they do terrible things. And with Pluto being so destructive and Mars, the aggression, and you have to watch for violence and things like that. And also the aspects with Mercury, which is communication and understanding. All of these negative aspects at once, is going to be the thing that causes all that kind of issue that you have to watch out for. So just try and be considerate as much as possible if you're having any kind of, negative discussion, and do what we do. If these aspects are coming and they're not so awesome, and as soon as somebody starts getting testy or somebody starts to become unreasonable or things like that, don't let your ego get in the way and say, well, I'm going to fight anyway and prove my point and be right, blah, blah, blah. Just walk away. Go away until things are better and you can talk reasonably and, calmly. It's up to you to always be the bigger person. I think that if anybody ever asked me what the key to a successful marriage was, I would have to say that that's it. Recognize when one partner is just not in the mood to hear anything, just not going to give you that kind of response, not willing to discuss, for whatever reason we get in our moods, then just walk away until it's a better time to discuss it. Don't push issues, don't force issues. Have that consideration to give that person their space. They'll love you more for it later on, and you'll be able to work out things. So I would definitely say, that's good advice for Sag, but for everybody, you know. In singles lives and in friendships, you know, you got 16th to the 19th looks like a really good, fun, exciting time. But the only thing you might have to look out for is if you have too many options, you don't hurt somebody's feelings because you had to choose one person over another. So again, it's about having too many options for Sag this week, right? Okay. Let's see. Finances, they're getting better slowly but steadily. Just look out, though, that these all-in-one kind of things that don't occur with, like I said, all the appliances blowing up at once. And or if you have some kind of family gathering, that you might spend a little bit more there as well. All right. Now, let's move on to Capricorn. Capricorn actually, like Virgo, actually has a pretty decent week. This is a week where Capricorn can actually work with all these aspects and find their wings. There have been a lot of tough periods for Capricorn this year, but this week is actually not one of them. You know, you're going to have the same overall issues as the rest of us, but you'll have a much easier time of handling it. Pay attention to the crucial details. The only thing you might, you know, have some issues thinking a relationship was going to go one way, but it's starting to go another way. Don't assume. Don't, you know, start analyzing and nitpicking like Capricorns are wont to do. Capricorns are the thinkers, you know, the analysts of the zodiac. So don't, you know, overanalyze details and things like that. At least not when it comes to making judgments about people and relationships. Wait until after this week goes by before you make decisions. You know, do what I do, observe and bank until it's a good time to pull those things out and analyze them and stuff like that. Because, you know, at that time, you'll know whether or not the things that you're analyzing are in your best interests or not. You know, right now we're all a bit cloudy because of those other aspects. You know, there's miscommunications, misunderstandings. I'm surprised I'm not tripping over my words a lot more today, but I was born with Mercury retrograde, so I usually don't get affected by stuff like that, any Mercury influences. But everything else, for the most part, for Capricorns will stay status quo. And if you know, go with the new moon aspects and you try and find new constructive ways to continue to increase your position or make your projects go forward, you can go from strength to strength at this time. So this could really be a good week for you, you know, I'd say it's a pretty 5-star week, actually, for you guys. So, in family, little things, the details, if you focus on the minutia, you're going to drive yourself crazy. But, you know, otherwise, just look at the big picture and know that things will fix themselves if you just don't analyze and overanalyze and get crazy with the minutia. You have a very, very fun 18th to 19th this week. If you are doing anything fun, if you have a holiday planned, anything like that is going to go really well for you. Just again, don't focus on the minutia. Don't worry about the details or you're going to trip yourself up over stupid little things. And otherwise, it'll be really great. And again, when I say about don't analyze the details, it's because if you do, especially if you're in some kind of early relationship or one that's been struggling, you can really let your emotions get way too confusing at this time with the other aspects being in Cancer. Cancer is Capricorn's opposite sign. So, you know, you can get mired down in the emotions of things if you allow yourself. Just, you know, stay light, stay free, float around on the surface. Don't go beneath the surface and dig out the details and stuff. It's not this week. You know, your old friends will be more beneficial to you than any new friendships or relationships. So, you know, stay tried and true to your old ones. If you have any issues you need solving, go to your network forum because they will be there for you. And that's it. The only day, and you've gotten through it already, work-wise, that could have presented a problem was the 14th. And if you're still here listening to me, you survived it, I guess. So, you know, otherwise, work is pretty well. And, you know, it's a good, solid financial week, and you could possibly see some big improvements if you don't let yourself get mired down in the minutia. You know, so that's it. So Capricorn's actually got a pretty good week, along with Virgo. So congrats to you guys. All right. Aquarians, my future thinking Aquarians. Yes, my unusual Aquarians. Yes. Aliens are most likely to be Aquarians. They're the future thinkers. They're the bohemians. They're the, the oddballs, they're the ones that buck the trends in high school and didn't dress like everybody else, didn't follow the popular crowd. They were more forward thinking, that kind of thing. Let's see. You got the possibility of having formidable situations to come up against this week. I'm going to give you the same advice as I did Capricorns. Don't get mired in the details. Observe everything, bank it. Think about it when times are better and less confusing and the aspects are a little bit better and more conducive. Sleep on any decisions you have to make. Don't make any knee-jerky thing. Anything that occurs, whether it's an unexpected situation you have to deal with or, even if it's a welcome development that you have to make decisions about, things will go much better if you sleep on any situation before responding. That is really my best advice this week. Take everything into consideration, observe it, sleep on it, and that's it, especially after today. Like I said, for everybody, things will start getting better. Family time, there's really nothing bad going on family-wise for Aquarius. If any of these unexpected or less than welcome developments should show up in your, family life, actually, I don't really see it happening. I see more huge opportunities, karmic things. The only thing you might have to worry about is the 18th. There might be one tiny problem in the evening, and that could be with kids acting up or misbehaving. And, you have to make a situation, an example kind of situation with something in that way. But that's the only thing that I see marring this great week for Aquarius, too. As long as you follow my advice, and I don't know how great it'll be, but there you go. It's something else I like to say. Just do what I say and you'll be fine. That's it. Don't, and you take your life in your hands. There you go. I can't be responsible if you don't listen to me. If you're single, then wow. There is a gigantic moth that just flew in the window of the studio. Oh, my God, attracted by all the lights in the studio. Well, there's an unexpected development for you. He's gorgeous. I love bugs. I'm such a nerd. Anyway, if you're single or if you're together, don't even worry. Just things will be stable. They'll stay that way. Nothing crazy. You actually have a very, very good romantic week all the way through to the 23rd. So hopefully you're on vacation because it'll be a great vacation week for Aquarians if you're on vacation. You'll meet a lot of new friends too, a lot of new things. You could definitely work with the new aspect of the new moon and find a lot of new things, If you have to be at work, just avoid all the BS and just lay low and, try and live in your own fantasy kind of Aquarian world, and you're going to find yourself getting ready to rev up to a really great week next week, and your finances also very exciting. So, pretty good to be an Aquarian this week. It's good to be an Aquarian, a Sag, a Virgo. Wow, you got it going on. Okay, one more to go. And this is Mom. Mom is a Pisces, and I'm going to actually do her forecast for her. We're going to get that in there because I promised her I would do her chart. It's just another feature I'm going to add to this now, and she'll be the first one because I told her I would do it. But Pisces, this is the week, and this applies to my husband too because he's got a Pisces moon. So, and since we're dealing with a new moon that's all home and family and emotions and all this stuff, he should pay attention to this too. So if you're listening, pay attention. All right. For Pisces, it's time for action this week. We've got Uranus and Pluto. These are the planets. Uranus is unexpected. Pluto is transformation and all these things. They'll awaken you to a new reality. They'll turn your whole life upside down just to show you a different path that you're not seeing, and they're both hot to trot this week. So you need to be very flexible, very philosophical. You have Venus that enters into Virgo over the weekend. So this is going to soften any of the stuff that might be too shocking. But, love is very apt to bloom for you over the weekend. There's going to be a certain sweetness that gets added to life starting this weekend for you if you allow it and you pay attention and, choose to feel good instead of to worry and feel bad, right? You can choose these things. So, you have a choice every day whether you want to, focus on doing what's in your best interest to improve each day for yourself or to either stay mired in whatever you're mired in and not do anything. You can choose these dynamic stars to move your own life forward. some people in some situations are never going to change, and we have to take the time to, decide what's working and what's not, and stop pouring our energies into stuff that's not going to work, and to find solutions and ways that things are going to work. So this is where you'll be definitely working with the aspects this week if you do that sort of thing, right? Again, after today, family should get, all cool, and, you might have had a little bit of a stressful time of it up till today, but it should, anything that you do, again, you're going to find huge opportunities to exploit situations for your family's good and the good of family members. Actually, wait a second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to glitch. See, glitches happen, right? Okay. Let's see. Oh, actually, Pisces have to watch that they don't fight too much after the 16th, especially if you're paired to a Virgo or a Cancer, or Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, or Capricorn. Yeah, or another Pisces. So, what I like to say is about two signs that get together. They either love each other or they hate each other. You either have a really nice connection or you're kind of repellent. It's like that magnet thing. It's been my experience. So, fortunately, everyone in my family's a Libra and we all love each other, thank goodness. That would be terrible. You can make some new friends this week, Pisces. So, if you're approached by somebody, you can feel confident that it's probably somebody that it's okay to get to know. You shouldn't be too terribly wary about it, And in work, just remember, if, people up to the 18th are, short, abrupt, rude, all about the, hurry up, I have no time for this kind of thing. And, the worst, just let it go, because it's all these aspects and things like that. It's going to totally switch up and start to change after today. People will be generally more pleasant. There'll be more schmoozing, especially the 18th and 19th, things like that. So Pisces finances get promising after the 16th. That's it. Keep your head when everybody around you is about to lose yours, and you will be definitely working with the aspects and, on the road to, bad first, better next, best last. So, yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. So that is every sign for this week. And yes, we are going to have one last commercial break, and I will come back and I will wrap it up for you, this premiere show of StarStruck with Kate Taylor. Stay with us.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
I did try to lose weight on my own. I couldn't do it by myself. I needed help. I'm Amy, and I lost 28 pounds on Nutrisystem. Now I'm healthy, and I'm in the best shape I have been in my entire life.
Now you can eat the foods you love and still lose weight with Nutrisystem and save up to 50%.
I knew Nutrisystem was working the very first week when I stepped on that scale and I saw results.
Nutrisystem is based on the proven science of the glycemic index, which helps you feel fuller longer.
It's easy, it's convenient, it comes to your door. It's that simple.
Choose 4 fantastic meals a day for less than $11.
This year was the first summer I went to the pool with my kids, and I was able to not be self-conscious.
Millions have lost weight on Nutrisystem. You can too, and save up to 50%.
It worked. Nutrisystem works.
Call 888-371-SIZE and save up to 50%.
What are we going to do today?
Stay strong. Take on the heat. Bounce back.
Get healthy-looking hair that stands up to styling. Discover Platinum Strength, new from Tresemme. It repairs up to 2 years of damage by reinforcing hair's natural protective barrier. For resilient hair with all its beautiful strength. What will you do with your salon-strong, chair-worthy hair? Tresemme. Professional. Affordable.
It's a stick revolution. Now skin goes shine-free and naturally matte in just one step. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline, New York. The first of its kind. Fresh gel foundation with an anti-shine powder core inside. Dissolves oil while it blends to a natural matte finish. For coverage that's fresh, flawless, one step perfect. New Fit Me Stick Foundation from Maybelline.
Stick with us.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
Okay, well, we are back again, and we had a bit of a fright here. Oh, my goodness. Somebody left a studio window open, and because we have all the lights and all the computer monitors and the mixers and all that kind of stuff in here, this gigantic moth just flew in, and oh, but he's so beautiful. Like I said earlier, I'm a little bit of a bug nerd. Like, you know, I watch Monster Bug Wars, and I'm the one who takes the spiders out and puts them outside. And, you know, in the winter, I put them in the garage so they don't die. You know, that kind of thing. But it was remarkable, so beautiful. You know, and my husband will tell you, in the summertime, I can go outside and I can call to the butterflies and they'll come and they'll land on me. I know it sounds crazy, but they do. We should get that on video one of these days. Okay. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody very much for listening to this premiere episode of StarStruck. As I said, please write to producer at NewYorksBestTalk.com. Tweet me at StarStruckTM. Or call the studio and leave a voicemail. That's 914-8731-NYC. And leave your birth date and a question, and I'll be sure to answer your question on air. Okay. Also, stay tuned for, tomorrow, 3 o'clock p.m. This is the last week that Coffee and Cigarettes is going to be on at 3 o'clock here. So you have to tune in and listen to that great show. My husband, Christopher Crash Jesus Taylor, and his celebrity guests, they have such a fun time telling the news, I can tell you. It's real news, but it's real funny. So tune in next week. We'll be here Wednesday, and we will be here 8 o'clock Eastern. We will. 8 o'clock Eastern for next week's forecast. Because like I say, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So now you know what to expect for this week. You can sidestep any bad stuff and run towards the good stuff. And check us out, www.newyorksbesttalk.com. Check out all our other shows and everything we've got going on and coming up. And have a wonderful week and a great night.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.